The road of human experience is littered with regret. We've all had second thoughts about our past choices, whether it be a lost love, missed opportunity, or not following our passion. Is it possible to live a life without regret? Absolutely, but it necessitates a fundamental shift in our thinking and a reconfiguration of how we approach each experience. And that's precisely the transformative journey I'd like to discuss today.
Welcome to Must I Evolve, a lecture series on spiritual growth and philosophy, presented in conjunction with No Expectations, the podcast.
Everyone has their own unique regrets, depending on their values, goals, and experiences. It's a common emotion that affects our mental well-being, relationships, and future decisions. People often tend to regret not spending enough time with family, dropping out of school, settling for a low-paying job, or not taking care of themselves. Some of the most common forms of regret relate to romantic relationships, such as breaking up with someone, staying in a toxic relationship, not expressing true feelings, or missing an opportunity. Sometimes the missed opportunity is called the lost opportunity principle. A theoretical psychological concept suggests that people tend to regret those opportunities, where they no longer have the chance to change or improve the outcome. According to this theory, people feel more regret for actions or inactions that are irreversible, final, or permanent than for those that are reversible, temporary, or flexible. This is because people can imagine different ways to possibly change or fix the situation if they still have some control or influence over it. However, if they have no control or influence, they feel helpless and hopeless, and blame themselves or others for the lost opportunity. For example, if someone regrets not expressing their feelings to their crush, they may feel more regret if they never see them again, or find out they are married or in a relationship. However, if they still have some contact or connection with them, or are single or available, they may feel less regret because they may think they still have a chance to confess their love or pursue a relationship. The complex nature of regret can create negative and positive emotions. Regret is a negative emotion if it leads to excessive rumination, self-blame, depression, anxiety, or reduced life satisfaction can be detrimental to our overall health. I want to discuss regret and unresolved emotions' impact on our well-being. When we cling to these feelings, they don't just sit idly in the background, they actively affect every aspect of our lives. They increase stress, anxiety, and even depression, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Our physical health isn't spared either. These emotions can weaken our immune system, elevate blood pressure, and disrupt the quality of our sleep, leaving us exhausted and vulnerable. Emotionally, regret can stir up powerful negative feelings like sadness, guilt, anger, and shame, which can chip away at our self-esteem and sense of self-worth. It often robs us of the ability to enjoy the present moment fully, keeping us trapped in a loop of what-ifs and if-onlys. I've discussed overcoming and embracing the fear of uncertainty in another video, and invite you to listen to that too. Regret can also cloud our thinking, impair cognitive function, and skew our judgment, making us more pessimistic, overly cautious, or even paralyzed by indecision. Perhaps most damaging of all is its effect on our relationships. Regret can isolate us, making it harder to connect with others, reducing our empathy and creating barriers to open. Communication. It can also undermine trust and attachment in how we see ourselves and relate to those around us. The cumulative impact of unresolved regret is staggering, but the good news is that we have the power to confront it, work through it, and ultimately free ourselves from its grip. Regret isn't just a weight we carry, it can also be a powerful force for good. Viewing regret through the lens of growth and transformation becomes a catalyst for meaningful change. It pushes us to reflect, adapt, and take steps toward improvement in our lives. Regret can motivate us to take corrective actions that bring healing, whether it's apologizing to someone we've hurt, seeking forgiveness, or making amends. These actions mend relationships and deepen our understanding of ourselves and others. Interestingly, regret has the potential to amplify our empathy and compassion. By recognizing our own mistakes, We become more understanding of others' flaws and challenges, fostering greater connection and gratitude for what we have. Perhaps most importantly, regret provides us with invaluable lessons. It creates opportunities to learn from our mistakes, paving the way for wiser decisions and preventing us from repeating the same missteps. When embraced constructively, regret becomes a tool for self-awareness, growth, and more intentional life. Ways to cope and use. Regret to your advantage. Forgive yourself. Regret often stems from the inability to cope with things you did or didn't do. You might think you deserve the self-criticism and negativity, but that's not true. Instead of denying, suppressing, or avoiding our regret, we can acknowledge it and face it honestly and with courage. We can also accept our responsibility and admit our fault without judging or punishing ourselves. Instead, try to be compassionate and kind to yourself and acknowledge that you are human and make mistakes. Learn from your regret. Regret can help you identify what you value, want, and need to change. Use regret as a teacher and a guide rather than an albatross. Ask yourself what you can do differently next time and set realistic and specific goals to improve yourself. Make amends if possible. If your regret involves hurting someone else, you may want to apologize, seek forgiveness, or make restitution. This can help you repair the relationship, reduce negative feelings, and restore your self-respect. However, be mindful of the other person's feelings and boundaries, and respect their decision to accept or reject your attempt. Also, be prepared not to receive the closure you had imagined. Let go of our regret. Instead of holding on to our regret or letting it consume us, we can release it and move on with our lives. Focus on the present and the future. Regret can keep you stuck in the past and prevent you from enjoying the present and pursuing the future. Instead of dwelling on what you can't change, try to focus on what you can control and influence. Practice gratitude for what you have and optimism for what you can achieve. Be mindful of our regret. Instead of being distracted or overwhelmed by our regret, we can be aware of it and observe it with clarity and calmness. We can also be mindful of our thoughts, feelings, and actions and how they affect our regret. Approached from a spiritual perspective, we can also be mindful of all phenomena's impermanence, interdependence, and emptiness, including our regret. Find a creative outlet for emotion. Regret is one of man's greatest creative motivators of all time. From the Beatles' song Yesterday to Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, almost every great work of art in between can nod to regret as a source of inspiration. Regardless of your medium, you too can find inspiration in regret for your imagination, innovation, and expression. It's a fabulously cathartic way to process the emotions of regret. When I think about regret, I'm often reminded of Kotoswaki's thoughts on the subject. Imagine looking back on our lives after we die. We'll see that so many things didn't matter. He asks us to consider the energy wasted on thinking about our regrets negatively as lost chances, and invites us to inhabit the present. Regret is a common and natural emotion we all face as we think about our lost loves, missed chances, and unfulfilled dreams. It may be hard to live without any regret, but it is possible to deal with it in a positive way. To cope with regret, we must be kind to ourselves, learn from our errors, make up for our wrongs, and move on with our lives. We can also use regret as a motivation to change and grow and find artistic ways to share our feelings. Regret can become a source of inspiration instead of a source of pain. If we are mindful, we can see regret clearly and use it to improve ourselves and our choices. The key is to use regret as a teacher and not as a tormentor. Thanks for listening. My name is Andrew H. Housley. I'm a writer, teacher, and the author of the novels Invisible Sun and Waiting Impatiently. I live and write in the Crescent City, also known as New Orleans. These mini-lectures are inspired by my personal growth and spirituality writings on Medium. If you like my content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Be sure to listen to my podcast, No Expectations, wherever you enjoy your podcasts.